Ibrahim Traore, the man who changed Burkina Faso's future. Everything you need to know. In September 2022, Ibrahim Traore took control of Burkina Faso in a bold military coup, replacing the former president, Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba. Why is his rise to power so important, and what does it mean for the country's future? With insurgent threats growing in the Sahel region, Traore's leadership is seen as both a hope and a challenge. Like this video if you want more updates on global events. Anti-clockwise arrows, share it with your friends to spark the conversation. Bell, don't forget to subscribe to stay informed and be part of the story. Ibrahim Traore's rise to power in Burkina Faso is a complex and dynamic story that reflects both the ongoing struggles of the country in dealing with insurgent violence and a larger trend of military coups in the Sahel region. Let's dive deeper into the key events and circumstances that shaped his path to becoming the country's leader, as well as the political and military context surrounding his leadership. Early life and military career. Ibrahim Traore was born in 1988, and while details about his early life are limited, it is known that he pursued a career in the military. He joined the Burkinabe Armed Forces, a crucial institution in the country, which has historically played a significant role in political life, given the military's involvement in previous coups, including that of Blaise Compaoré in 1987. As a young officer, Traoré quickly ascended through the ranks, eventually becoming a lieutenant colonel. His exact position and his early military assignments remain vague, but he is known to have been involved in operations to fight the growing Islamist insurgencies that have plagued the Sahel. These insurgencies, particularly from groups linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, have made the region one of the most unstable in Africa. The 2021 coup and Damiba's rise. In January 2021, Burkina Faso's then president, Roch-Marc Christian Kabore, was ousted in a military coup. The coup was led by Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, a senior military officer who had been frustrated by Kabore's inability to contain the escalating Islamist violence that was destabilizing the country. Damiba's coup was part of a wider trend across the Sahel, where other countries like Mali and Guinea also saw military takeovers. Damiba, following his coup, promised to prioritize the fight against jihadist groups and restore security in the country. However, despite his leadership, the situation on the ground continued to deteriorate. By mid-2022, Burkina Faso had witnessed an unprecedented wave of attacks from Islamist militants, leading to more than 1 million displaced people and widespread insecurity. The 2022 coup. In September 2022, after months of unrest and mounting dissatisfaction with Damiba's inability to deal with the insurgency, a new coup unfolded. The military officers, led by Ibrahim Traore, ousted Damiba from power. The coup was driven by similar grievances that had led to the previous coup in 2021, primarily the inability of the government to secure the country and protect its citizens from extremist attacks. Traore, who was a lieutenant colonel at the time, came to the forefront as the leader of this new military movement. He cited Damiba's failures in securing the country and addressing the jihadist insurgencies as the primary reasons for the coup. Traore's group, the Patriotic Movement for Safeguard and Restoration (MPSR), seized power on the grounds that the country needed more decisive military leadership to combat terrorism and restore national security. Key events of the September 2022 coup. Seizing power. On the night of September 30, 2022, Traore's forces took control of the capital, Ouagadougou, and announced the removal of Damiba. A televised announcement by the military stated that the coup was necessary to restore order and improve security. This move was immediately supported by some military factions but also met with resistance from others, especially Damiba loyalists. Damiba's reaction. Damiba initially resisted, claiming that the coup was illegal and promising to fight back. However, within a matter of hours, it became clear that his forces were outnumbered and unable to resist the coup. Damiba was eventually forced to flee the country and seek refuge in neighboring Togo, marking the second military coup in Burkina Faso in less than a year. Legitimacy and support. Traore's forces presented themselves as champions of the people, and the coup was widely welcomed by many Burkinabe citizens, who were frustrated by the government's inability to stop the violence. However, it also sparked concerns in the international community, particularly with regional organizations like ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States, which condemned the coup and called for a return to civilian rule. Traore's leadership and military agenda. After taking power, Traore and the MPSR positioned themselves as defenders of the nation. Traore declared that his government would be more effective in combating terrorism and promised to tackle the insurgency with greater force. His rhetoric resonated with many Burkinabe, especially those who felt that the previous leadership had failed to protect the population from jihadist groups. Key actions and goals. Anti-extremist focus. Traore's administration continued to focus heavily on security. The military was tasked with taking more aggressive action against jihadist groups operating in the country, particularly in the northern and eastern regions, which had become hotspots for extremist activity. National unity. One of Traore's key promises was to restore unity in Burkina Faso, a country deeply divided by both ethnic tensions and the insurgency. The goal was to rally the country behind a common cause: the defeat of the jihadist insurgency and the stabilization of the country. Expulsion of French troops. A major move by Traore's government came in early 2023 when Burkina Faso ordered the expulsion of French troops stationed in the country. The French military had been part of Operation Barkhane, a French-led initiative aimed at combating terrorism in the Sahel. Traore's government justified the decision by asserting that France had not been able to halt the rise of extremist groups in the region and that it was time for Burkina Faso to take a different approach to its security challenges. Russian relations. Alongside the expulsion of French troops, Traore's government expressed openness to cooperating with Russia. There were reports that Traore had held talks with Russia about potential security partnerships, including the use of Russian mercenaries such as the Wagner Group, which had operated in other African countries, such as Mali and the Central African Republic. This was seen as a potential shift in Burkina Faso's foreign policy, moving away from the West and toward Russian influence. International reactions. The international community responded to the coup with mixed reactions. ECOWAS condemned the coup, calling for a return to civilian rule and democracy. However, the region's leaders were also concerned about the broader security situation in the Sahel and the growing influence of jihadist groups. France was critical of the coup and the expulsion of French troops, but it also faced a growing backlash from parts of the Burkinabe population, who resented France's involvement in the region's military operations. Other African countries, especially those in the Sahel like Mali and Guinea, expressed understanding and even support for Burkina Faso's military-led government, given the regional trend toward military interventions to address instability. Domestic challenges and uncertainties. While Traore's leadership was initially welcomed by many, especially those disillusioned with the previous administration, his government faced several challenges. Ongoing insurgency. Despite Traore's promises, the security situation did not significantly improve. The jihadist groups remained highly active, carrying out attacks across the country, and the humanitarian crisis continued to worsen, with millions of displaced people and a growing number of casualties. Governance issues. Managing a country in the midst of a violent insurgency is an enormous task. Traore's government has been focused on military actions, but critics argue that it has not done enough to address the underlying issues of governance, such as poverty, corruption, and the need for a cohesive national strategy to combat extremism beyond military means. Public sentiment. While many Burkinabés supported Traore's leadership due to his promises to prioritize national security, there has been a growing concern about the lack of progress in addressing the insurgency. Some Burkinabé are beginning to question whether Traoré can bring lasting peace and stability to the country. Conclusion. Ibrahim Traoré's rise to power in Burkina Faso marked a dramatic shift in the country's political landscape. His leadership was initially hailed as a necessary change in the face of a failing security situation. However, the challenges facing Burkina Faso remain immense. The country is caught in a vicious cycle of violence, poverty, and political instability. Traoré's ability to address these issues, secure the country, and navigate complex international relations will ultimately determine whether his rule can succeed or whether Burkina Faso will continue to spiral into deeper chaos. His government's next steps will be crucial in defining the future trajectory of Burkina Faso, both domestically and within the broader Sahel region.